could be a spy. She looks like a spy. Hello, welcome back to a sewing video. It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, for those of you that don't know me, I am Velvety Cleopatra. My real name's Gemma, but you can call me Velvety, you can call me Cleo, you can call me Velvy, just call me. But yeah, I am back today with a charm patterns Patreon pattern. Big surprise, but it is the Drama Club cape. This is the little, I always cut these out to put them in my little folders with the pattern. But yeah, it's the Drama Club cape, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous cape. I'll put in a picture here of the wonderful Gertie in hers. And I was so inspired when I saw this, and I bought the fabric ages ago, and I just haven't had the time to sew it because I moved house. I moved from Swansea in South Wales to Norfolk, so that's about 280 miles, and it was a difficult move, but I'm settled. When I got in the house, so I moved in mid-September, I hurt my back during the move somehow. I don't know if it was sciatica or something, but I was pretty much out of action for 2 months with back pain, and I really couldn't do a lot, so unpacking was very, very slow. But now I am mostly unpacked. I say mostly unpacked, that is a gross exaggeration. I am not mostly unpacked, but the living room is kind of sorted, the bedroom's getting there. My sewing room is, this is my sewing room. It's getting there. It's getting there. You can see a box here, stuff behind me. Once it's done properly, I will show you. I will give you the tour of the house and the sewing room. But for now, you're not seeing it. I have documented the setting up of the sewing room, so I will do a separate video for that. But yeah, I'm going to do the Drama Club cape. And I have cut out all my fabric already. I did that over the last couple of days, just after work and during my lunch break, because I work from home permanently now. And yeah, I just need to cut out the interfacing now and fuse that to the fabric it needs to be fused to, transfer all the pattern markings, and then I'm good to start sewing. And the first thing we're doing is bound buttonholes, which I haven't done since the princess coat, the first one I made. And I'm looking forward to doing it again because I actually really enjoy those really like fiddly little techniques, and I really enjoy like tailoring and all of that. I love that sewing, that kind of sewing where it's really precise. So I'm happy about the cape because it's got a lot of kind of like tailoring techniques in, and I'm excited to do this. So what are you doing? You can guess who this is. Yes, here she is. The one you've all been waiting for. The ginger minx herself. What are you doing down there? Not a single brain cell in that head. Yeah, so I will show you the fabric that I'm using. And then, yeah, I guess we'll get into the sewing once I've finished cutting out. Say goodbye. Okay, so fabrics, I have gone for something I've never used before. And I really wanted to make like a transitional weather cape because I have got 3 wool capes. They're very heavy, they're very thick. They're great for winter. But if I'm walking around the shops and they've got the heating up full blast, I'm looking at you, Primark. What are you trying to do? Kill me? But yes, I can't be wearing a thick woolen coat or cape in there. So I wanted something transitional, so I'm not going to get too hot. So I've gone for a gabardine, a black gabardine. So this is it's quite thin, but it's tightly woven, so it should be kind of waterproof and, water resistant is what we say, not waterproof, water resistant, and keep the wind out. And yeah, it's got lovely drape, so yeah, I'm really happy with that. That I got from I'll put it on in the description and on the screen because I can't remember. And then for the lining, I've got this satin. It's like a green with silver leaves. I just think it's gorgeous. And I'm very much going for Slytherin vibes here. As you can see, the black and the green and the silver. Slytherin vibes. Because I am a Slytherin. So yes, yeah, so those are the fabrics, and I haven't picked out any buttons yet, but I have some black buttons. So it calls for 1-inch buttons, and I have some plain black buttons, so I'm probably just going to use those. So not anything particularly exciting, but I like them. I could use silver ones. I'll see. Buttons come last, so I can always order some. But yes, I'm going to report back then once I've fused on my interfacing. What are you doing down there? You're so funny. You're silly. So, I've put my fusible interfacing on the back of my buttonholes, nearly missed. They're just on the edge of them. I thought I'd lined it up, but never mind. And then I've marked I've pinned the buttonhole patch to the front, and I've marked the buttonholes on the front because you should sew them from the back, but I haven't got anything that will mark the interfacing. So I've tried the heat erasable pen, I've tried chalk, nothing will mark the interfacing. So I'm just going to sew it from the front and it will get pushed through to the back anyway. So yeah, hopefully that will be okay. I can't see it being a problem, to be honest. We'll soon find out. So you start part way down one of the long ends, stitch to the end, pivot, and then use the hand wheel across the short side to count how many stitches you do. Make sure you don't overshoot, and then go down the long side again, and then when you pivot and go down the short side you do the same number of stitches. So it's best to use the hand wheel because that way you can keep count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 for me. And I overshot the long side because I can't see my chalk marks when the light's on. Maybe I will move this to point to the end, and then I'll know that I'm at the end. There we go. So the pin's pointing to the end now. I will know I'm at the end. It's gone. I've done it again. I've gone one thread too far. I'll have to use the hand wheel when I get close to the end. There we go. So 5. Take that pin out now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pivot and then finish the long end, and we're just going to overlap the stitches on the long end as well. We don't back stitch because it creates too much bulk apparently, even though I had to back stitch because I went too far. Okay, so we have one. Goodness, I can't even see the threads on the... I can't even see the threads on the interfacing. It's so dark. Okay, so that's one done. It's not the best, but it's square. So I'll take these pins out now. Okay, let's do the other two. Okay, so we have our 3 buttonholes, and now what we're going to do is cut into them. This is the scary part. So you cut into your buttonholes. So scary. All I do is fold them in half and just do the tiniest little snip in the middle. Just to make sure it goes through but doesn't jeopardize any of my stitches. There we go. And then you cut to about 1/4 of an inch at the end. I'm just going to do them all at the same time. To about 1/4 of an inch from the end. And then you cut into the corner without going through your stitching, so you're making like a little triangle at the end. The way I do it is I put the edge of my scissors, the end of my scissors, so it just stops just at the stitching, so I don't push them in further than that, because if I did it would snip through the stitching. This is the way I do it anyway. And then we're going to separate our buttonhole patches, and then we're going to push the fabric through to the wrong side. This is so nerve-wracking. Okay. And basically you're just finger pressing it to get it to lay flat. Hopefully you should have a nice rectangle. That's your buttonhole basically, and with a little bit of finagling, you can see there, we can get it looking nice. Let's just pop the others through. It is quite scary if you've never done them before, but also it's quite amazing. There you go. Let's get rid of these bits of fluff. So now they're all through to the wrong side. And they should lay quite flat because you've done the clipping into the corners. If they're a bit puckered, you may not have clipped enough into the corners, but you can always push it back through and snip it a bit more. But I find just give it a bit of a press with your fingers. There we go. 3 little buttonholes. The next step then is to form the opening. So you basically you're forming what they call like the lips. I hate that. So you're just pulling the fabric down a bit to form the lips of the buttonhole. So when you look from the right side, I don't know if I can show you, but you'll have, yeah, like that. It'll be a bit neater, but you've just got little like lips that fill the hole. Sounds horrible, but that becomes your buttonhole. So yeah, I'm gonna just get these in place and I'll show you. So I've made my buttonholes. You can see one here. I'm quite proud of this. This is a very even. The others not so much, but I'm just basting them closed now because I'm going to sew around the outside and I don't want them to shift about. So I'm just putting some basting stitches in just to hold them closed while I do that, which will hopefully keep them in the right spot. This fabric is quite hard to put a needle through. It's very tightly woven. That's what makes it so good for outerwear. There we go. So they're just basted closed. They're not going to go anywhere. So now the next step is to stitch in the ditch around the buttonhole, and that will secure the flaps on the back, like the seam allowance for the patch. That will secure that in place. So I'm going to do that next. have a nice bound buttonhole. Do you know what? That's not bad. Actually, that's better than the ones I did before. It's a functional buttonhole. Is it perfect? No, but it's a buttonhole. I'm happy with it. I think with a good press, that will look really nice. So I'm going to finish off the other two, and then we'll give it a press, and then we'll come back and crack on with assembling our cape, because this is the tricky bit done until we have to do the corresponding holes on the facing piece. But that's not so bad because you don't have to form the lips or anything. You just sew in organza on the back, or putting organza on and folding it through to the back, so you get a nice clean rectangle. It's not making the buttonhole mouth, as it were. I'm really happy with that one. That's actually really good. Do you know what? I don't think they're that bad. The top and bottom ones are definitely better. The middle one's not so good, but they're pretty good. Now they're pressed, I'm happy with those. I think for my second attempt, they're definitely better than my first ones. They're beautiful. I love them. Yeah, they're not perfect, but you know, I have to be careful when pressing this fabric. It's definitely, it goes shiny if you put too much heat on it, so I use my press cloth on the front. So I'll have to remember that when I'm pressing, use the press cloth. You don't want any shiny bits. This reminds me of school uniform. It's like school uniform trouser material. Okay, next. Okay, so we've attached the patch pockets to the front. They are quite large, big enough to fit my phone in completely without it poking out, and edge stitched around the bottom. I'm annoyed because my edge stitching has got further away going around the corners here, but probably only I will notice that. It's just annoying me. The other side was actually better, but it's okay. So these are done now. And yeah, I like how the lining is in there. So this is my side with the bound buttonholes and a pocket. So I need to check what's next. Okay, so I've done the bust darts and pressed them. I'm now doing the organza on the buttonholes. So basically you put your patch of organza over the buttonholes on the facing, over the buttonhole markings. You sew around the buttonholes, just a rectangle around the buttonhole, cut them and snip into the corners as before, and then push the organza through. So it's exactly the same as the other step, only this time you're not making lips or welts, so you're just creating like a hole for to match up to the other side of the buttonhole. So this is the facing, so it'll cover up the other bit. So yeah, you just then what we do is press this open nice and neat, and because I've picked black organza, hopefully nothing will show on the right side, but if it does, it's black, so it's not the end of the world. Hi. It wouldn't be Gemma's sewing video if she didn't do something stupid, would it? So me, being me, thought, oh, the organza, people make press cloths out of organza, so it'll be fine on the iron. I can just iron. I don't need to use my press cloth. I've got like a, I don't know what it is. It's like a plasticky press cloth thing. It's obviously not plastic because it would melt, but it's I can't remember who made it. Maybe Minky. But anyway, so I thought I'll just iron the organza patches. I won't put the press cloth on. Obviously melted the first one because it's not silk, is it? No, it's probably polyester. I ordered what I thought was, like Gertie always says in her videos, silk organza, and I was just like, organza. Probably ended up with polyester, didn't I? So yeah, so the top half of my patch is melted. So I'm hoping that it will stay. It should be fine because I've stitched around the edges, so it can't, you know, unravel or like fray. That was the word I was looking for. That's my buttonhole patch where it's melted. So it still looks okay. It's just a bit jaggedy on the edges. But it's melted, so it's not going to fray anyway because it's actually melted. I can't believe I did this. And it's all over the bottom of my iron. So, nice. I guess, once again, I'm going to be looking to buy a new iron. I'm just trimming the gross bits off that are showing through. Hopefully we can salvage this. Honestly, it's not so bad. And once it's like attached to the rest of the cape, you probably won't notice it anyway. I'm just so frustrated that I did that. It's so irritating. Lesson learned. That organza is not iron proof. So if I use it for bound buttonholes in future or anything else, must remember, don't iron it. Okay, so far we have attached now the lining to the facing. It doesn't, this is green, but it looks not green. So this will go here, sorry. So this is up to the shoulder. Got a dart. I feel like the dart's going to be in the wrong place, but I think I'm holding it wrong. There we go. More like that. It'll be fine. Yeah, so this is the lining attached to the facing. So we've done both sides of that. The next step now, you start assembling the cape. But you know what? I think I'm done for the day. I think it's ceasing to be fun, and I'm gonna stop, because when it stops being fun, that's time to stop. Because if you start finding it a chore, that's when mistakes happen. So yeah, I'm proud of myself for making this decision. This is something I had to learn. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop. It's really rainy and stormy outside. I actually really like being in here listening to that. It feels really cozy and nice in here. Not like in my old house when it just felt really gloomy and horrible. But it feels cozy and nice. So I might not continue with this now before Christmas. I'm just covering my babies up. Don't want them to get dusty. This house is very dusty. So I try to cover them. Yeah, so I'm not sure I'll do anything now before Christmas, because tomorrow is the 23rd and I'm working till 6, and then Christmas Eve I'm off out shopping with my mum and my sister, so I'll probably just go to my mum's tomorrow and then stay over there until Boxing Day and then come home. So yeah, I probably won't get back to this until Boxing Day. That's mad. How is it Christmas? Like, what has happened? Okay, so we are making good progress. We have the cape pretty much assembled. I just need to do the collar and then attach the lining to the outer, make the belt, attach the buttons. I'll show you what I've done so far. Here it is, little peek of the sewing room. So we've got the cape outer. So this is the front, your arm comes out here, bound buttonholes, pockets, then the cape lining, the same. No. Oh, I thought I'd put the buttonholes on the wrong side, but I realised the cape will actually be flipped the other way around. Oh my god, I was panicking for a minute then. But yeah, the lining will face the other way, so this will all be flipped, so yeah. But yeah, we've got our finished bound buttonholes with our burnt one at the top. The others are nice and neat though. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. No one will see this, it'll be on the inside. The lining, again with the armhole. Yeah. It's looking good. I'm I'm happy with how it's going. I've just hung it here for a minute so I can, but the next step is to assemble the collar. So I've got my collar pieces. It's nice when I have all my pieces of, like, sorry, all my pattern pieces dotted around the room, and they start to like disappear as I attach them to the garment. So all I've got left now are the collar pieces and the belt. That's it. So we're getting there. It's mostly assembled. Okay, I'm back. That lunch turned into a long lunch. It's now 3 o'clock. Basically, I just started watching fashion design videos on YouTube, and yeah, now it's time to crack on. I would like to get the collar made and attached minimum now. I'm not sure if I'll do much more than that today, just because I'm starting to get a bit restless with it, and hence why I stayed downstairs watching YouTube for so long. So again, when it ceases to be fun, we stop. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just I've come up to do a little bit more and see how much longer I can carry on with it. Okay, so close of play. It's quite dark, so I've put the flash on. We have a collar on, and now we need to leave it to hang overnight to allow the back. Oh, look at all these threads on it. To allow the these are my tailor's tacks that have escaped. I think I'm done with them all now. I really like this. Yeah, so we're just allowing the fabric to drop. It's looking pretty even, both of them at the bottom at the moment, but you have to so this is the collar here. I'm just getting it sitting right on the mannequin so it can, there we go. Yeah, so the collar, and then you have to leave it to hang and then trim the lining so that it's a little bit shorter than the outer. It's like 1/2 inch. You trim 1/2 inch off. I do think the bust is going to be too high on this, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter to me. I've got quite narrow shoulders, so perhaps they will fall correctly, but if not, I'll just adjust them next time. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, this seems like a good place to stop, because the next steps, well, I have to leave it to hang before I can cut the lining. I could make the belt, but I could just do that tomorrow. It's quite, I mean, it's dark now. It's probably about 5 o'clock, I'm guessing. So yeah, I think stop for the evening, and it'll soon be dinner time. And I'm going to watch something on TV and just chill, put my feet up. But I'm proud. I've done a lot today. It's looking like something, and I'm very happy about that. I needed that today. I needed a bit of a win, you know? And it's looking like it will be a win. Kind of wishing I'd gone for a brighter lining fabric, but actually I really like the green with the silver, and I think in the right light for taking photos and things it will pop. Hello, hello. It is the next day. I'm wearing the same jumper because I was literally just sitting in my house yesterday. I'm not going to just throw it in the wash after that. Anyway, so everything is assembled, pretty much. The collar's on and that. I now need to shorten the lining. So the lining unit is here. Look at this lining. I just can show you now the fabric, the colour. It's showing up correctly on camera. Yay! But yeah, we need to take a 1/2 inch off the bottom. So what I've done, I let it hang overnight. The lining itself had been hanging for about 24 hours because it was hanging on there for ages yesterday, and then I left it overnight as well, so it hasn't dropped at all, which is good. I've aligned the pattern pieces on it to check, and everything is still the correct length. So I'm now going to take a 1/2 inch off the bottom to make it shorter than the cape itself, ready for hemming and finishing the cape. So the way I'm going to do that is just run it through my overlocker with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so it'll finish and cut at the same time. And then we're going to hem it, and it's going to be an inch hem, and then we're going to hem the cape, I believe, and attach it all together. So I am just going to do the overlocker for this because it's just easier, isn't it? Why make 2 steps when I can do it all in one? Okay, so I've got the cape pinned all around. We've got the neckline edge pinned, so the lining to the outer, with the collar sandwiched in the middle. And we've also pinned the armhole, so both sides of the armhole. And we're going to sew that all together and turn it right side out. Okay, close of play today. And it doesn't look like I've done much, but the lining and the outer are joined. The understitching is all done along the front. Got our bound buttonholes here. I've just pinned them to keep them together, but they line up on the facing and the front. Yay! Lovely, lovely lining, all stitched in. So there's a little bit of a catching situation going on here in the armhole, so I need to go in and unpick that. I haven't hemmed it yet, but also it's open at the bottom, so I can get in there, and on this bit I can get in there to fix that. So I'm going to sort that out tomorrow. It's just at the pivot point. I've just caught the other side by the looks of it, so I'll just unpick it and do it again. The other side is nice and neat. I need a better iron because my understitching, I rolled it to the other side, but it's still showing through, but it's okay. We've got our lovely lining peeping out. So yeah, tomorrow need to hem it, finish the bound buttonholes, make the belt and put the buttons on. That's it. But I'm calling it a day now because it's 5:30 and I'm tired. So yeah. Good morning from me and my frizzy hair. Okay, so when we left things yesterday, we'd assembled the entire cape. So we just need to hem the cape, finish the bound buttonholes, buttons and the belt. But if you remember, I need to fix the armhole because I've somehow created like a puckering situation, and I don't know how, so I need to unpick just under the armhole and do it again and make sure I go to the circle points. Yes, that's just trimming off a little bit of seam allowance there. Okay, so I don't know how this has occurred. I think I've gone past a circle point basically. So I'm just going to unpick my stitches around the arm. Okay, so there we go. I don't know if you can see that, but we have a nice point now. That is fixed. So it should hang nicely, and it is. I will press it again just to keep the lining, sorry, to help if it was on camera. I'll press it again to keep the lining to the wrong side, but yeah, we've got our nice little armhole now, and hopefully that will not poke through the other side and keep puckering up where the lining is. Okay, so next, finishing bound buttonholes, I think. So we've got our buttonholes. I've just pinned them to keep the facing and the buttonholes together. And I think we have to stitch in the ditch, hand stitch on the wrong side. So let me just check the instructions. I was actually wrong, it's the belt. So with my belt, I had to piece it. So I need to remember to sew the pieces together. So basically I've got 2 interfaced pieces. I need to join them on the short ends to make one long interfaced piece, and then do the same with the non-interfaced piece, and then I can join them together to make the actual belt. But the fabric was not wide or long enough by the time I'd finished to cut the whole thing out in one. So I decided to have a centre back seam on my belt, which is fine. I actually prefer that because it means I've got a reference point for keeping the belt in the centre of my back, so that's good. I'm just joining pieces. Do the same with the non-interfaced. I did put a little piece of paper, belt plus seam allowance as pieced, just to remind me of what I'd done. So yeah, let's so I always put my little notes and pattern pieces back together. Right, let's make sure we're doing right sides together. Yep. Okay. There we go. So I have pieced my belt pieces, and now I can just press the seam allowance open, and then we can start the belt. So I assume we're just sewing it as a rectangle, so we're just sewing it all together, leave a space so that we can turn it right side out, and then top stitch all around, sealing up the bit that you've left open at the same time. Okay, we have a belt. It's not that kind of channel. But we have a belt. So yes, I now need to finish the bound buttonholes. I'm quite proud of that. The centre back seems quite neat. Top stitched. Nice. Should fit round me. And it does. It's not super long, but that's okay. I made the size 22 to fit my shoulders, the cape. And I think I did the size 22 belt. No, I think I did the size 26 belt because that's what the size of my waist is, or should be. It still amazes me when I look at something like this and I'm like, if I picked this up in a shop, I wouldn't think twice about it being handmade. And I just, yeah, no, it's only a belt, but I look at it and I'm like, it's so neat. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it is neat. And I don't think anyone would notice if that was in a shop on a coat. They would just assume it was made professionally. It still blows my mind. So yeah, got black bits of thread everywhere. I really need to vacuum in here. There's little triangles all over the floor from where I was clipping into the curves. But yeah, let's retrieve the cape. And we are going to finish the bound buttonholes. It is the 29th of December. For some reason I seem to make capes on the 29th of December. This is the 3rd year that I've done a cape on this day. I've started a New Year tradition for myself, making a cape. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to finish the bound buttonholes. We are then going to give this a good press again and hem it. In fact, I might just hem it now because I'm at the machine. I've pinned it already. So the only bits I haven't pinned are the little... I've pressed the hem and yeah, I just haven't pinned the these bits. What are they called? The arm, the fronts. I haven't pinned those, so we'll pin those, hem it, and then that's one more thing done. Then all it is finishing the bound buttonholes and putting the buttons on, and we're good to go. Here she is, finito. Very happy with her. Not sure how it'll look on me, but we'll see. I'm just really happy with it. I think it's so chic. Okay, time to put it on me. Oh my god, hello. I feel so sassy. I'm so happy with it. I'm not happy about my camera angle, but you know, we're working on it at the moment. So this is the Drama Club cape finished. This is how it looks from the back. I don't know, I'll do some full length shots in a minute, but it is drama. I love that lining. And actually, I'm glad I chose to sew this side. This size. I was going to go for the, I think the bust darts could actually be lower. I was going to sew a larger size because I always sew the 22 to fit my shoulders. But, and like greyed out at the waist and the hips. But I don't think I needed to. It comes round enough at the sides to cover me. When the cape is down, you can't see my clothes underneath. The bus has pulled up outside, blocking all the light from the window. There we go. So, yeah, I'm really happy with this. Got the thread on there. I think if I'd have gone bigger, it would have been too big because we've got a bit of like gaping here, and I know it's meant to have ease because you wear clothes underneath it, which I am doing, but I'm really happy with this. Very happy. Look at that lining. Oh yeah. Is she a spy? She could be a spy. She looks like a spy. I love it. I actually love it. Okay, so let's wrap up this video. Thank you for being here with me again for another sewing project. Sorry it's been so long since we've done a sewing project. But I will be posting more regularly. I'm aiming for once a week, and yeah, I'm going to try and keep that up as much as I can. But yeah, I will see you again soon on my channel. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already.